Hi guys, my name is Julian, and you guys are probably tired of me being up here already because I know I am. First of all, I want to, despite Jacob and Jonathan's bombastic comments about how we need U.S. military force in Syria, they really don't have a plan. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't heard a plan. I know they kind of said something about DFS, the Democratic Forces of Syria. They kind of talked about the Kurds, but even if that is your plan, that plan has already failed. According to Holly Yan and Mark Morgenstein of CNN, the U.S. launched a $500 million program to train and equip the Syrian rebels. And just a month later, the U.S. Defense Department announced, well, on Friday 16th, that it will suspend the rebel training program. Why? Well, according to Arwa Damon from CNN, it was a complete and total failure for a plethora of reasons. One of the biggest reasons that Syrians want to fight ISIS, the Syrians want to fight ISIS while the United States wants the Syrians to focus on the Syrian regime. Another reason why this was a big problem was because out of the $500 million that they used, they were only able to train 60 rebels. So $500 million for 60 rebels doesn't seem pretty accurate if you tell me. Also, Jacob made the claim that Lebanon is receiving $792 million to help refugees. And without U.S. intervention, Hezbollah and Iran will spread their ideology to these populations. Well, when you say $792 million, it does sound like a small number. But if you take into account that the UN by itself is going to take $19.5 billion in 2014, that shows that not only is the U.S., like Jonathan said, the biggest single donor, but also the UN is going to take $19.5 billion to help the other nearby Middle Eastern countries. Also, if you're saying that U.S. intervention is needed to stop Hezbollah and Iran to spread their influences in Lebanon, does that mean you want to start a war in Lebanon as well? Because just to show you that in Lebanon right now, there's crushing budget deficit that has led to violent crashes with their government, and 500 Syrian refugees in camps are exploiting the country's budget. And also, another thing is that if you, instead of trying to go to war, why don't we just take in more refugees? If this is all to help humanitarian aid, for example, Germany is already going to take 800,000 refugees, French 24,000, the Spanish 16,000, while the United States of America is only going to take 10,000. So instead of trying to go to war, why don't we just take in more refugees? I think that would help way more instead of going to a war where there's a lot of refugees and probably there's more chances of killing innocent people. Another reason why, another thing you stated was that airstrikes are effective. This is completely false. The Pentagon has already admitted that cruise missiles aren't always accurate. Also, the Syrian government is reportedly moving more military offices into populated areas, increasing the likelihood of civilian casualties. So not only are the cruise missiles already inaccurate, but they also, first of all, I don't even know if you want to attack ISIS or the Assad regime, but if you're trying to attack the Assad regime and they're putting the military people inside of innocent people's houses, what is the chance that you're not going to kill civilian people? Also, another reason why air power isn't always accurate, according to Stephen Watt, professor of international relations at Harvard, he claims air power is a crude instrument and it doesn't always allow you to control the events on the ground. It would also open the door to some groups nastier than he is, such as the Muslim Brotherhood or Al Qaeda also as well. Now you say that the airstrikes are effective. Are you sure you're not talking about the British attacks, which are way more effective than the United States attacks? British Ministry of Defense claimed that 8 attacks were carried out on the 5th of December, which was only 3 days ago, and reports say they were all successful, all 8 attacks, and that was according to Marvin Dong from CNN. Also, why should we attack Syria if it's illegal? International law, the UN Charter, allows military action within 2 cases, only for self-defense or if authorization by Security Council. In the United States, only Congress can declare war. Without congressional approval, a military strike, which you guys are trying to apply here, would still violate international law. And why is that wrong? Because if we break international law, according to Yale Law professor Hathaway, suggests that even unleashing a limited amount of military force without United Nations Security Council authorization, it would threaten the fundamental principles of international legal system, and doing so put us all at risk. Which that means is that if we break the law by going to attack another country, what makes you think another country isn't going to break the law and attack us the other way around? So you also, Jonathan made the claim that ISIS has lost 25% of their territory. Well, this is also false because according to Rami Abdulrahman, director of the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, he claims there is nothing stopping them. And the important thing is that they also control 50% of Syria now. So even if they lost 25% of the land, which you are claiming, they still have 50% of Syria, which is a huge number. So it's not like, so we really, it's not like anything's really gonna go on there. And then also, they have 50% of Syria, and they also plan to set up a government. According to Russia and Gara from Time.com, ISIS created a 24-page manual that includes directives regarding education, healthcare, public relations, and even a foreign policy. And there you go.